Tell me they can't hear me. What's going on, guys? What's going on? We back at it. What's going on, guys? What's going on, Matrix? What's going on, Cosmics? What we doing? Welcome back to the Cosmic D stream, the UFO reaction, alien lore, cosmic mystery. Yeah, I'm gonna take gaming out here. This ain't the gaming, but I do have a gaming channel. But neither here or there. What's going on, Matrix family? I want to thank everybody who followed me from my streams, from my content. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for everything. And yeah, it's cool to vibe with y'all. Everybody catches me on the VOD because I know I stream late at night most of the times. But who's ever up to be up with me? So tonight, I had a whole list, but that goes past the alien hour. And yeah, that goes every time. Okay, there we go, Twitch. Yeah, every time I get on, do this on multi, Twitch be acting up. Yeah, I have a whole list, but I got 3 good videos that I think we're gonna get through tonight. Then I'm gonna save these other ones for the next stream. These are 3 good videos right here. So tonight we're gonna look at 3 videos with someone, a person explaining. They showed us. He showed a parallel universe. He made it appeared on live TV. That's one video. Another video if is a person explaining how your soul can evolve and how you can access other dimensions. That'd probably be good. And the one he saw the truth behind reality. So if we don't get through 3, we're gonna get through a good 2 out of 3. But let's begin. Let's begin, guys. Let's begin. Y'all been looking at the sky lately? Have you guys been looking at the sky lately? It's all cool. Don't worry. Sky will look at you soon. So let's go ahead and watch this right here.
In multiple copies, initially they are all identical, and then when a moment of choice happens, you already exist in multiple copies. Initially they are all identical, and then when a moment of choice happens, both a microscopic one and one made by you consciously, these identical copies become... You already exist in multiple copies. Initially they are all identical.
That boy NJ in the building. Let's begin, NJ. Let's begin.
And then when a moment of choice happens, both a microscopic one and one made by you consciously, these identical copies become different from one another.
So suppose you're walking in Oxford and you have to choose to go left or right.
In that case, it would be that in half the universes I go left and in half I go right.
This talking about 5th dimension.
Man showed a parallel reality on television. Please pay attention.
This is just a piece of cardboard with little pinprick holes in it. And there's one of them, just a single hole. This is a laser pointer that we use in giving lectures. I shine the laser through the hole, and we can see a little spot on the screen over there. And what would you expect to see? You'd expect to see, just if there's one hole, you'd expect to see one spot, but that's already not true. You see quite a complicated pattern. It's called an interference pattern. I'll tell you why. What would happen if we made a second hole? Well, here's another place on the screen where there are 2 holes. We get a completely different pattern. And through 3 holes, there's a different pattern again. That's the pattern we get from 4 holes. We can see the behavior of things like photons being affected by things we can't see. Even when one photon is going through, there's a different pattern for 6 holes, for 7 holes, for 100 holes, for 1,000 holes.
I'm just trying to make it make sense to me. So it's a light situation. It's a light situation. I'm very lost. I ain't gonna say I'm very lost, but I'm still trying to understand.
And that means that there must be something traveling through every one of those 1,000 holes
okay.
and making a difference to the photon that we see.
I get it.
Making thousands of parallel universes.
And that means there must be at least thousands of parallel universes. In fact, the theory tells us there are a lot more than that.
But the
fifth dimension. The fifth dimension explains all that. We have multiple universes with different outcomes. What you think your imagination is already real in a whole different is already what you think in your imagination is already happening in a different reality. I don't care. Imagination just a nice way of saying that.
real surprise wasn't the experiment, but the words that came after. Words no one was ready for.
Is it physically possible to build a time machine that is a path from the present time into the past? And the answer there is it's still an open question, but as far as we know, there are physical processes which would allow the tearing of the fabric of space-time in such a way there would be a pathway into the past.
This is David Deutsch, an Oxford physicist who dared to say things on live television that most scientists only whispered about. Let's break down the strange laser experiment he used to prove the existence of parallel realities.
Yeah, so in a different universe, literally, yeah. NJ, dead ass, yeah. Dead ass. You're probably 6'7", 230 pounds, the president. And there's another universe where you're probably like 4'2" and 50 pounds. That's what I say. Whatever you imagine yourself as president. Imagine yourself as a prominent person to society right now, right? If you're imagining that and you can already like vividly, and I hate to say imagine because like when you picture yourself, you can picture it vividly. And I only say yourself because like if I think of myself want to be like an astronaut, that's so broad. When I think myself want to be, let's say I want to be a rapper at one point, right? I could see myself on the stage. I could see myself like performing. I could see myself doing that. But when I open my eyes, I'm not doing that shit. but in a, but I believe, but in an alternate reality, I believe that is what's going on, and that's why when you imagine certain stuff, when you picture yourself in certain positions, that's not true to your reality. It's definitely true in the alternate reality. I think I'm explaining it pretty high, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you're definitely 6'7", 6'7". So imagine the alternate reality for that. 7'6".
The experiment you saw him perform is not new. It was first carried out in 1801 by the English.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. So that performance he just did with the laser and the paper and the wall stuff, I don't want to be like the bubble burster, but I did see a few videos that kind of debunked that. I don't. That's why I'm like I'm trying to understand it. You know what I'm saying? But the universe on 6'7", he wants to be. What if in the universe where I am 6'7", he wants to be in my universe? That's a good question. I don't even think it worked like that. Yeah, I think when you go to the universe where you're 6'7", that 6'7" won't exist no more because you would replace them, and that's where, and I, it's not gonna be like the Scrooge of Three Nights of Christmas where he goes back in his past and he sees like a younger self. I don't think it's gonna be on no time travel like that where because the now is already in the past. It's not gonna be on like no cartoon, no Disney, like okay, you go back if NJ goes back in the past to 5-year-old NJ, you're gonna see 5-year-old NJ. I don't think I don't think it's on some multiverse like I think like when you go to that time zone, that you are the you in that time zone, and what was you is now in a time where you once was. I don't think you can come in contact with your previous self. If that's what I'm trying to get to, if that's what I'm saying, NJ. I don't think you can contact your previous self, but I could be wrong though, because like I said, I don't know too much about time travel. But I'm definitely interested and intrigued in that. I'm still learning about it. Well, to be honest, let's be real. Nobody knows what the fuck going on with this time travel stuff. The elites do. We can say what we like to think. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think, like, okay, let's say you do see yourself in another time zone, right? How would NJ, how would 6'7", 230 pound NJ react to NJ of this reality? How you know they gonna be? How you know your other universe gonna be cool? You 6'7", 230. He might want to beat you up, gang. He might be like, NJ from Earth, from the other universe. He's coming over here. Nah, nigga, I'm the NJ. I'm 6'7", 230 pounds. I would get my. he probably won't even. But that just and see and check this out, right? We about to get even deeper. You say you would get your ad deleted. That's in an alternate reality. So there's a reality of that reality of that reality. So there's a reality of you going to see the 6'7", 230's twin, and he does delete you. And there's probably a reality where you go see your 6'7" self again, but y'all are cool. Exactly. But hopefully you don't land in the one where he just destroys you. You know, if you like, NJ, big NJ, what's up, twin? It's me. NJ smash. Boom.
English scientist Thomas Young, who used candlelight and two narrow slits. That simple setup proved that light could. An Oxford physicist who dared to say things on live television that most scientists only whispered about. Let's break down the strange laser experiment he used to prove the existence of parallel realities. The experiment you saw him perform is not new. It was first carried out in 1801 by the English scientist Thomas Young, who used candlelight and two narrow slits. That simple setup proved that light could behave like a wave. More than 2 centuries later, physicists still see it as one of the most important demonstrations in science. Albert Einstein himself said it had some of the deepest implications in physics.
Albert Einstein is an alien. I'm still working on. I'm still doing my research to figure out what planet he's from, but he's definitely not from Earth. Him, Nikola Tesla, and there's a few others. There's many others, but they're very noticeable. Albert Einstein was not. He was sent. He came to Earth to help us in our evolution, but he's not from Earth.
And yet, despite its simplicity, it remains one of the hardest experiments to truly understand. But here's the more interesting part. The same experiment he showed in the interview has also been performed under much stricter conditions, using a dark filter so strong that only a single photon, one particle of light, could pass through each second. This setup changes everything. Instead of a beam of light, the detector now clicks once for each particle. A tiny dot appears on the screen, then another, then another. At first, it looks random, just scattered points with no pattern at all. But the strange part is that as time goes on, those single dots start performing the same interference pattern as if a full beam was.
Oh shoot! So it's like one goes through here, and it makes all these possibilities. That's what I'm thinking. Oh shit.
shining through.
So it might not be debunked. This shit actually might be why that actually might be a parallel universe.
Even though the photons travel one by one, separated in time, together they create the exact same wave.
What if he came from the future? Who? Albert Einstein? Oh, that's a possibility. The only reason why I think he came from a different planet because information he had that like he knew wasn't human. Like it was very complex. But that could be a possibility too. The future. He comes back to prepare us. But if he wouldn't, I feel like wouldn't he be a little more urgent if he came from the future? Like, you guys gotta learn this. That man was so. He's like, yeah, man, it's easy. Let's do it. He loved what he was doing, the mathematics and stuff. Like, boy, Albert Einstein, smart as shit. He loved all that stuff. That's what I feel like, man. But he probably could be from the future. But what future though? 20 years, 100 years, maybe 1,000, or maybe he's an alien.
Wave-like design. This should be impossible if light were only particles. Each photon should pick one hole or the other, leaving
Oh, yeah, nah, facts. There's actually a video, if you search up YouTube and look up like time traveler compilation, they have a video, like a flicker footage video where they had the video going like this, where a lady was walking with an iPhone or Android of that nature. Nah. See? And see, that whole statement you just said, NJ, and the thing is with the future is that he could. That he could is basically a synonym for alternate reality. So, and the thing is with the future is that in the alternate reality, the iPhone we want know what time it came from. See how that whole statement switches up because he could is like the access word. Like could is basically saying this is happening in a different reality. This is happening in a different dimension. What if he could? They should. What would happen? My fault. I thought I heard some crazy shit. Hold on, real quick. Excuse me. You heard that? What's that? You heard that little noise? Yeah, I was outside searching on it. Cool or something. Thought I heard. Thought I heard something. My fault, y'all. You hear that shit? Yeah, same thing. I think it was a raccoon. I'm gonna say it's a raccoon. Or, it's goddamn aliens. The aliens. It's the aliens, NJ. It's the reptilians. The reptilians are like, they're trying to figure out They try and say, yo, what's D and NJ doing? D and NJ over there talking about parallel universes and shit on stream? And they found us, NJ. The reptilians. they're like NJ. This ain't gaming. What's you and D doing? Talking too much.
Two simple clusters. Instead, each particle acts as if it passes through every hole at once, and as if it knows whether other holes are open. And yet, this isn't the strangest part. The next step is even harder to explain.
Nah, but I think it was a raccoon or something, some shit. At first, I thought somebody was blowing. I said, "Whoa, hold on, wait, wait. The aliens got choppers? Hold on, wait." But nah, I think it was like a raccoon probably knocked over some shit.
How do we explain the fact that we see the same pattern, that we detect the same pattern on the screen, when there's only one photon at a time going through?
That's not crazy, NJ. NJ. Damn, NJ. Bro, why'd you... Bro, damn, hold on, let me like this. Bro, your last name rhymes with lizard? You might have a little reptilian in NJ. I mean, we're all hybrids. You know that, right? We're all hybrids. You probably got a little reptilian. It's all good.
Here, as we did when the bright laser light was shining on it. Same pattern, that we detect the same pattern on the screen, when there's only one photon at a time going through. Here, as we did when the bright laser light was shining on it. You see, this one...
And still multiple possibilities from the one photon.
One photon, the one we detect, must have gone through one of those two holes.
The experiment becomes even stranger when more holes are added. With one hole, the result is just a simple...
Well, NJ. Yeah, that's, I think certain hybrids do have that lineage in their ancestry. As much as I want to be like, I don't have reptilian in me, I might have a little bit because I was on the swim team and I can swim as well. But I don't want to say we all swim in our land to mammal, no, because that just says like we all came from fish. And I believe maybe the primitive humans of Earth, yeah, the cavemans, yeah, but when you talk about like Sumerians, the Egyptians, they ain't come for no fish. They ain't come for no fish, NJ.
Spot. Add a second, and suddenly a new pattern appears. Add a third.
We was all born on an island. I was born in the United States. That's a big ass island.
Or a fourth, and the picture changes again.
That's it.
Even if the photons are sent one by one, the final image still depends on all the holes together.
See that? One. Then it splits into 5 possibilities. Then it splits into 5 possibilities again, but slits in the middle. Holy shit. That is kind of like when you really... I don't get this part, like the W50U. I'm not gonna lie. But when you kind of understand it, it's like, what the hell?
It's as if each tiny particle somehow knows about every possible opening, even...
They used to have one in Puerto Rico, que lo que, que lo que. Que lo que. Puerto Rico, man. I don't like where I'm at. They deep up here. We got Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. I fucks with them. We be doing Instacart, Uber Eats and stuff together. And you know the thing is, we're all black and brown at the end of the day. You feel me? We all Anunnaki. We all like, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about it. Like, yeah, I ain't gonna get into the damn. But yeah, that boy, Puerto Rico, that what's up. Fun fact about NJ. NJ Puerto Rican. That's dope. I got a Puerto Rican homie. Well, I got a couple of Puerto Rican homies. I don't care. But I got another Puerto Rican homie. My homie. Que lo que? Yes.
Never passed through. Something that should be acting alone behaves as if it's connected to all paths at once.
Something
Oh, you a nigga, NJ. Oh, damn, NJ, you a nigga.
is coming through those other
You like me, twin?
holes and shoving our photon aside. And that process is interference.
What is this something?
Well, we can do further experiments to find out what that something is. The conclusion that we draw is that this thing behaves like light in every way we can detect experimentally except one, and that is we can't detect it.
So it's not there.
It is there because it pushes aside the light that we can see, and it behaves like light, and the only reasonable...
What do you mean you can't detect it? You see it. Hold on. What do you mean you can't detect it when you clearly see it? Isn't perspection detection?
Can't detect it.
So it's not there.
It is there because it pushes aside the light that...
NJ, we all mixed, NJ. Didn't I just tell you you're a hybrid species? We're all hybrid species from different alien races. They're probably half Anunnaki, mixed with a little... yeah, you might be a little more Anunnaki because you say you dark. So you probably more Anunnaki. I got a little Albarian in you. You know what I'm saying? Albarian. You know that's the white side. I got Albarian in me. But yeah, you might be Anunnaki, man.
we can see, and it behaves like light, and the only reasonable conclusion is that it is light of an invisible kind.
It's as if invisible possibilities are interfering with the visible outcome. Something else must be traveling through those paths, pushing the photon we can see. It behaves like light.
You probably know a lot of Egyptian. You just got to remember, brother. You got to remember. Memory is a configuration of programming. You as a human are only designed to remember a certain length. That's why they be like it's hard to remember when you was a baby. People kind of only remember maybe 7, 6. Some people remember 4 years old, but like the average probably like 7, 6 years old. But they program you to only think that far back. You're actually supposed to go back thousands of years, and there's a way you can access it. And we're gonna find this out together, NJ. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna bring you back to Egypt, brother. You're probably a prominent person, and we gotta figure out how we can get that memory back so you can save the world, NJ. Do you understand, NJ?
Light in every measurable way, yet cannot be detected directly. The unavoidable conclusion is our reality is not solid and isolated, but shaped by
NJ, what would you do if the aliens came to you? What would you do, NJ, right? If you woke up and you woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, you go to the bathroom, gotta go take a piss. After you finish taking your piss, as you go back to your bedroom, you see an alien being that looks just like you. And he tells you straight up, it's time to go. We need you. Your time here on Earth is no more. How would you feel, NJ? You have to leave everything behind. Like you said, your time is now, bro. You're not going back to your room to sleep, gang. We need you on this planet to fight this war. I'm gonna get my fucking... I'll stab fucking... Yo, bro, you can't stab the alien. He gonna stab. Then he say he needs you to save your planet. You gonna stab that boy. You can't, bro, you can't do that shit, bro. How you gonna stab? How you gonna stab someone that look like you, bro? The man said, bro, you can't go back to. He said, that shit was funny as fuck, bro. Oh shit, I'm a box. Oh shit, I'm a box. You gonna box an L? You gonna box a higher dimensional being, an advanced alien being. He go as you punch him, going, you gonna go like this. He gonna just look at you like, we thought your vibration was higher. And Jake gonna be like, shut the fuck up, nigga. Shut the fuck up. That what NJ gonna turn to Puerto Rico Johnny. And hit him with the canal. NJ said, I'm not trying to say. He said, I don't care about none of that. NJ, you gotta go back home and save your planet, gang. That's fucked up. You gonna leave people on the planet die, nigga? He said, he's so much that. He said, nigga, this ain't Men in Black, nigga. bro, 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 you gotta go home and save the planet, bro. You can't just, bro, you gotta go home and save the planet, gang. You can't be here and be like, bro, you gotta go home and save the planet, gang. You can't just stab the nigga, goddamn, be like, bro, your time is now. If you came to your bedroom, this way it is. It's the, hey man, we might gotta make a movie. That shit probably be funny as shit. And we want bro say your tongue now, like bro, this is my mission. Leave. Nah, bro. He gonna show you. He gonna okay, right? After you tell him that, what if he pulls out like a alien device and he shows you like a memory, and you see yourself as the king of this planet, like you was a ruler. You feel me? And he explained how he was kidnapped and he was brought here to Earth. You was brought here to Earth and they erased your memory and they gave you a family, a mother, brothers and sisters and everything. And like they put your soul in a whole nother body. And since you got so used to the body you're in, you forgot about your past life of being a king in this planet. You still gonna stab that? And he just showed you, like you got wife and kids on this planet. Like he said, they on the phone like, Dad, we miss you. We want you to come back home. The king gonna stab him, NJ. He's gonna kill myself. No, NJ. NJ, no. No, NJ, no, don't do it. Nah, bro. What if you say you just got okay? What if you say you come back in 6 months, and when you come back in 6 months, time doesn't change. Like time, like when you come back to the same time from when he took you. So it's like right after you took a piss, but you gotta be gone for like 6 months. And he said if you don't, then your planet gets destroyed. So either go back to your planet for 6 months and save your universe, or if you don't go, your planet starts. He said, I bet I'll come with him. Okay, now if you go with him, all right, you go with him now. You're on this planet. Now he gives you, it's the end of 6 months, right? Now you don't know if you want to come back because the 6 months kind of changed your life, right? And actually, you found love back on your planet through 6 months again because you was cool. You end up getting another wife, right? but this time your wife is a reptilian. Yeah, bro, you fell in love with a dinosaur. Like you really loved her. Like, er, like, do you leave the dinosaur and your dino kids after 6 months, bro, and come back? Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, what's feelings, bro? Like, you think about it, 6 months over some years. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't lie. I would go. I would go six, but only for 6 months though, because I probably do like you. If an alien be like, "D, the Anunnakis need you," I'm be like, "Go on. They need you to fight for this. They need you to take over the ship." I'm like, "Go on." Unless there's some alien gat, and unless there's some alien gats, gat. Oh, you talking about gat? Like gats? Alien gats? What's up, Alec? What's up, Alex? Alien, now you know what the hell going on. We're over here talking about if NJ, when NJ's OG comes back from the planet. Let's ask Alex. Alex, right? If you wake up to go to the bathroom around 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And after you go use the bathroom, you come back to your bedroom. Then the alien from your original home planet looks at you, appears right in front of your face, and tells you, "Do you wanna? We need you to leave this planet right now and come back home to your planet." I'm not gonna lie, that shit might be fire. That shit might be fire. I ain't gonna cat. Could you imagine some alien head? Alien head be crazy. I want the alien be crazy. No, Alex. If the alien goddamn tell you you have to go home to save your planet, and you're never coming back to Earth, are you going? And if you don't, all right, let's say you're not going, but you're gone. They say you have to leave for 6 months and you come back, but you have to go fight reptilians and some greys and shit. And you're gonna be on some missions, but you have to be gone for 6 months. But if you don't go, then Earth is destroyed the next day. What you gonna do, Alex? And Jay, I think Alex said I think Alex took the high road like you. He said, "Fuck that." That boy Alex checked out. He said, "Mm." Y'all think about that. Let's get back to the parallel.
Layers of existence we normally cannot see. Quantum theory reveals something extraordinary. In its equations, invisible elements of reality are treated in the same way as the visible ones. They suggest they are not illusions, but real features of the universe. Light itself behaves as if hidden versions of it exist, interfering and pushing against what we can see. And this strange behavior is not limited to photons. Every particle, including the atoms in solid matter and the molecules in our bodies, appears to be influenced by unseen counterparts. The implication is staggering. Entire parallel worlds of matter, energy, and light must exist alongside ours. At the moment of the Big Bang, these
You forgot about the video because the reptilians wanted you to forget about the video, because what happens is the more deeper you get in with this knowledge, the interdimensional beings that we cannot see that's in the higher dimensions are preventing you by creating a distraction. That's why you're thinking about taking alien chicks right now instead of retaining this knowledge, NJ. So get ready. I'm trying to prepare you to go back to your planet so you can save your world. You over here trying to goddamn stab up the alien and shit.
Universes all came into being together. In the very beginning, they were almost identical. Over time, through interference and
Like one big ass condom.
interaction, they began to diverge. Imagine countless books printed with the same first chapter, each gradually telling a different story. Our universe is simply one of those variations. And as Deutsch emphasizes, the other
I'm gonna play a real video right here. This one right here, right? I'm gonna play this one right here. I ain't gonna do no stopping with this one, because this one, I want y'all to watch it all the way through. I'm probably gonna stop it like halfway, but I ain't gonna really do no commentary, so this is the commentary I'm gonna do, right? This video is basically about a sci-fi writer named Philip K. Dick. Check his books out. He wrote a lot of books during the 70s and 80s, and he explores questions about reality, conscious, memory, and what it truly means to be human. Decades before ideas like simulated realities and artificial intelligence became mainstream, his novels challenged readers to question the nature of existence itself. In this video, blah blah. So basically, he made the video basically talking about the Matrix. And they got him. Yeah, they got him. This real shit. And it might be a couple AI voices, but nah, this is him all the way right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and play, buddy. I'll buckle up. What if there's a universe where you're me and I'm you? So remember the contraction words, MJ. What if? What if they could? Remember, what if? If they could. If they should. Wouldn't it be cool? Those are contraction words for basically saying there's an alternate reality for what's already happening. So it probably is an alternate reality like that. This probably is a Puerto Rican D Matrix. Yeah, Puerto Rico D. Que lo que? My nigga. I'll be Puerto Rican. Shit, people already mistake me from Puerto Rican anyway. Let me add this to stay right here. There you go. Oh, wait there. There you go. He saw the truth behind reality, then died.
To cut about 2/3 of my speech out and deliver as short a speech as possible. You are free to believe me or to disbelieve, but please take my word on it that I am not joking. This is very serious, a matter of importance.
This is the recording some believe cost him his life. In September 1977, the writer Philip K. Dick spoke to an audience in France. They expected science fiction. What he said instead revealed too much about reality and drew the attention of the CIA and FBI, changing his life forever.
The subject of
Forever.
this speech is a topic which has been discovered recently. A breaching, a tinkering, a change had been made, but not in our present, had been made in our past. A variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this, an alternative world branched off, became actualized instead of the prior one, and that in fact, in literal fact.
We say on some Domi Medos con pollo, but I just had some chicken earlier.
We are once more living this particular segment of linear time.
He said the CIA and FBI had taken his work years earlier. That's when you know he may have spoken too much.
Because why would the CIA and FBI take your work and you're just talking? Like, they didn't look at this man like a crazy man. They just like, oh yeah, this nigga know way too much, goddamn.
In 1974, the CIA opened my mail. The FBI had a file on me. I've seen both. But the cops were watching everything I did, and I was correct. And I was told the house was being watched, and that eventually my house would be hit, my files would be opened, my papers would be taken, and so it came to pass. When I came home and found my house consisting of nothing but rubble, ruins, chaos, broken windows, smashed doorknobs, blown open files.
A few years later, he suddenly dies right before the premiere of Blade Runner, June 1982, the film adaptation of his novel, To Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. Fans said it was strange that the author, who had predicted so many modern themes about AI, identity, and reality, never got to see the movie that would finally make him widely famous. What's strange to me is that he was only writing science fiction, yet the FBI and CIA started watching him.
Only writing science fiction. Science fiction, basically. You get what I'm saying? This man, science fiction. This man was writing alternate realities. He didn't know it. He thought he was just writing novels at first, but then he realized, nah, nigga, I know what's going on.
To me, that means he was touching information never meant for the public. That's what caught my attention. So, listen carefully to what comes next. I know attention spans are short, but trust me, this video will give you chills.
We are accustomed to supposing that all change takes place along the linear time axis, from past to present to future. The present is an accrual of the past and is different from it. The future will accrue from the present on and be different yet. That an orthogonal or right-angled time axis could exist, a lateral domain in which change takes place, processes occurring sideways in reality, so to speak, this is almost impossible to imagine.
That's what I was trying to explain to you earlier, NJ. They looked at him like a loco. Exactly. Exactly, NJ. They looked at him like crazy. But if they looked at him, they couldn't see it. The public looked at him like crazy. But the FBI and them like, yeah, he's crazy, but that's crazy putting this shit out there. Kind of shit he going.
How would we perceive such lateral changes? What would we experience? What clues, if we are trying to test out this bizarre theory, should we be on the alert for? In other words, how can change take place outside of linear time at all, in any sense, to any degree?
Philip tries to make this strange idea easier to understand with a simple picture. Imagine a painting on a wall. Instead of replacing the whole painting, the servants secretly change details on the same canvas. They remove a tree, add a girl, shift small elements. When the owner looks at it, he sees something new, yet also familiar. His brain struggles. It's the same painting, but also not the same. Dick uses this example to suggest that reality might be altered in subtle ways, not fully replaced.
Contemplating this possibility of a lateral arrangement of worlds, a plurality of overlapping Earths.
Hold on, let me see them comments. What's up, Arena? Unfortunately, my headphones broke today because my naughty cat, so I can't hear your voice. It would be great if you could respond through the chat instead. Ariana.
Along whose linking axis a person can somehow move, can travel in a mysterious way from worse to fair to good to excellent. Contemplating this in theological terms, perhaps we could say that herewith we suddenly decipher the elliptical utterances which Christ expressed regarding the kingdom of God, specifically where it is located.
He connects his theory of parallel worlds to the words of Jesus. He points out that Jesus gave answers that
We'll run that back real quick.
familiar. His brain struggles. It's the same painting, but also not the same. Dick uses this example to suggest that reality might be altered in subtle ways, not fully replaced.
Contemplating this possibility of a lateral arrangement of worlds, a plurality of overlapping Earths along whose linking axis a person can somehow move, can travel in a mysterious way from worse to fair to good to excellent. Contemplating this in theological terms, perhaps we could say that herewith we suddenly decipher the elliptical utterances which Christ expressed regarding the kingdom of God, specifically where it is located.
He connects his theory of parallel worlds to the words of Jesus. He points out that Jesus gave answers that seemed contradictory about the kingdom of God. He said, "My kingdom is not of this world, but also the kingdom is within you."
So the kingdom within you, that's what I was saying earlier. I've heard, not earlier, but this is one thing I be trying to tell folks. I don't want to get too religious. God is within you. When people say, "Where is heaven?" Heaven is up here. Universe is up here. God made you in the image of Him. That means God is within you. But we're not going to go too religious. Blah blah blah.
Or among you. Dick suggests these statements weren't meant to confuse, but to describe something deeper. Maybe Jesus was speaking about these overlapping realms, multiple realities that can be reached by living human beings. Some of them dark, others beautiful, and at the highest level, the just kingdom of God.
I, in my stories and novels, often write about counterfeit worlds, semi-real worlds, as well as deranged private worlds, inhabited often by just one person.
You see these books, game, like, bro, this is like, bro, this ain't imagination. This was someone. This was
Stories.
This was information that was put in his head, bro. I don't give a fuck. Transformers was not imagination. Star Wars was not imaginations. Aliens versus Predators was not imaginations. That was information.
And novels often write about counterfeit worlds, semi-real worlds, as well as deranged private worlds, inhabited often by just one person, while meantime the other characters either remain in their own world.
They have to, NJ. They have to. Like, think about it. God forbids, like, say, like, I ever blow up with my UFO lores and everything. That's why I label my shit as alien UFO lores and cosmic, because even though I believe what I believe, and I don't like to say believe because that's supposed to be lie under Eve, but even though I know what I know, I still have to label shit a certain way because, like you said, they will label you crazy. And yeah,
Worlds throughout, or are somehow drawn into one of the peculiar ones. This theme occurs in the corpus of my 27 years of writing. At no time did I have a theoretical or conscious explanation for my preoccupation with these pluriform pseudo-worlds, but now I think I understand. What I was sensing was the manifold of partially actualized realities. It was in February of 1974 that my blocked-off memories of Track A returned, and it was in February of 1974 that my novel, Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said, was released finally, after two years' delay. It was almost as if the release of the novel, which had been delayed so long, meant that in a certain sense it was all right for me to remember. That is, to remember that the book was not fiction. The book was based on subliminal memories which I had of such a world.
After connecting his book to subliminal memories, he went deeper into describing what happened to him in early 1974. He said it began after dental surgery when he was recovering at home. One afternoon, a delivery girl came to his door wearing a necklace with a Christian fish symbol. As the sunlight reflected off the necklace,
why a Christian fish symbol?
Dick saw a sudden flash of pink light. From that,
Dick saw a sudden flash of pink light. That's crazy. I'm sorry. Let me be mature.
moment on, he reported a series of overwhelming visions. He claimed the pink beam carried information directly into his mind, not images he imagined.
Yo, NJ, ask your moms does she believe in aliens and UFOs, and ask her if she did. Ask her if she has any UFO or alien stories. Then I want you to use that story for whenever I get this TikTok live for the alien call. I can't say too much because I don't want nobody stealing the ideas. But you know what we had talked about a few days ago on that shit. I got you, Dev on that shit, Envy. But I gotta figure out how to do that shit. But yeah, that'd be dope. The 70s were pretty lit for UFOs. Yeah, the 70s were pretty lit for UFOs and alien shit, I'm not gonna lie. And there was basic film footage type junk, no AI for real like that. If it was not to the public. But yeah, the 70s was lit.
But structured knowledge. He suddenly knew that his infant son
Chewbacca. Brr, she saw oh, I thought you said Chewbacca. Chupacabra, I mean, that's worse. Chupacabra is worse. Hey, man. Yeah, ask her again. Ask her again. Get details on that story. We need that.
Had a dangerous, undiagnosed medical condition. When doctors
Look at this right here. Look what he says right here. He's about to say some crazy shit right here.
He said it
Watch.
began after dental surgery when he was recovering at home. One afternoon, a delivery girl came to his door wearing a necklace with a Christian fish symbol. As the sunlight reflected off the necklace, Dick saw a sudden flash of pink light. From that moment on, he reported a series of overwhelming visions. He claimed the pink beam carried information directly into his mind. Not images he imagined, but structured knowledge.
Knowledge, information, wisdom. Fuck. Damn, I was about to say something.
He suddenly knew that his infant son had a dangerous, undiagnosed medical condition. When doctors checked, they confirmed it, saving the boy's life. To Dick, this proved the experience was not fantasy. In the weeks that followed, the visions intensified. He said he lived in two overlapping realities, California in 1974 and ancient Rome in the 1st century. At times, he believed he was both himself and a Christian slave living under Roman rule.
You see this? He thought he was living. This man was living a perpendicular life. I don't know if that's the right word, but he was living. No, he was. I think he was living a double life. This man was living naturally. This man was living as a Christian slave.
California in 1974 and ancient Rome in the 1st century. At times, he believed he was both himself and a Christian slave living under Roman rule. He described it as if time had folded, two tracks of history running at the same time, and his consciousness could move between them. Philip also reported receiving vast amounts of information, entire downloads of philosophy, theology, and science that felt too complex to invent. He said,
"That's what I was going to say. Knowledge is wisdom. Wisdom is philosophy. Philosophy. When you break down philosophy, philo. Philo is the Greek root term for love. Sophie. Sophie is Greek term for wisdom. So philosophy, the love for wisdom. I was trying to think of the one for philosopher, but either way, same thing. Go look it up. Philo equals love. Sophie equals knowledge.
It was as if an external intelligence, which he later called Valis, vast, active, living intelligence system, was transmitting knowledge into his brain.
Transmitting knowledge into his brain. Me and T, she said me and TTB were running into fields of PR, someone in the middle of nowhere. How she know it wasn't a dog? How she know it wasn't a dog, NJ? Not saying your mama ain't lying, type John. But wait, a hound with a bloodied mouth? Nah, that might be the chupacabra. I mean, that's a chupacabra. That's a chupacabra. Hey, that might be the chupacabra. I don't like Puerto Rico. Hey, you know what, NJ? I'm gonna give you some hope. NJ, you should look up UFO stories in Puerto Rico and DM me them shits when you get a chance. I know that shit's crazy. UFO or alien stories in Puerto Rico, where I'm gonna look that shit up. I know that story.
This explained why many of his novels already contained themes of false reality.
Because he wrote his novels based off the information. Like I said earlier, this was no imagination. This was information. Imagination is information. Where does imagination come from? Imagination comes from the head. Creativity. But how do you get that creativity? You get it from information. You learn. Learning creativity is only equal to growth. If that makes sense. When you create something, you're growing as well. And all these books, like people are like, oh wow, this looks like great. This ain't imagination. Dr. Futurity, It's scanner darkly. Like, come on, what? Who comes up with
realities, hidden powers, and overlapping worlds. He believed those stories were subliminal memories breaking through long before he consciously
What you mean, biggest satellite thing? What you mean, bro?
understood them.
Plural realities did exist, superimposed onto one another, like so many film transparency. What I still do not grasp, however, is how one reality.
Wait, is it Mr. Part what you said?
When doctors
This one right here. He figured out his son's sickness before they even knew. See?
Dick saw a sudden flash of pink light. From that moment on, he reported a series of overwhelming, not images he imagined, but structured, they confirmed it, structured knowledge. He suddenly knew that his infant son had a dangerous, undiagnosed medical condition. When doctors checked, they confirmed it, saving the boy's
crazy.
life. To Dick, this proved the experience was not.
That's crazy in the most beautiful way. That's crazy in the most beautiful way.
Not fantasy.
He figured out his son's sickness based off the information he got. Not off of physical 3D shit, but off of a higher vibration. Like, we all wish to have that gift. But he just ran his fucking mouth. Damn, nigga. Like, some shit you just gotta shut. He should have packaged it up the right way. See, if YouTube and social media was out in the 70s, there probably wouldn't have been so many people that would have been snatched up just for, and they wouldn't just come out just saying or spewing shit. You feel what I'm saying? Because yeah, they wouldn't come just spewing shit, or they're like, you know, the random stuff, because they would package it up in a way where they could put like entertainment, social media wise. That junk could have been, yeah. That's why I say 70s was lit, but it just 70s was lit and it was raw content.
In the weeks that followed, the visions intensified.
I'll go back up here.
He said he lived in structured. He compared reality itself to a game of chess. CIA and FBI. Back then, I see some people in the
He, like so many film
realities, hidden powers, and overlapping worlds. He believed those stories were subliminal memories breaking through long before he consciously understood them.
plural realities did exist,
A Crebo Observatory. Alright, bet. Yo, DM me that on Tik, man. So I don't forget. Please.
superimposed onto one another, like so many film transparency. What I still do not
Because it might have some stories around that.
grasp, however, is how one reality out of the many becomes actualized in contradistinction to the others. More likely, the Matrix world.
How one reality among the many become actualized, constituent to others. I mean, I can just go ahead and just say fifth dimension. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, this is 3D. 4D is like basically seen from start to the end. But fifth dimension is where you have different alternate outcomes and results. I'm just gonna say for what it is, but I know he's gonna go crazy with the astronomical words, and I love it because no way I'm gonna learn these big ass words too, so I could expand my dumbass vocabulary.
The one with the true core of being is determined by the programmer. He or it articulates, prints out, so to speak, the matrix choice and fuses it with actual substance.
You see this bitch, NJ? You see this bitch? This bitch is laughing.
The core or essence of reality, that which receives or attains it, and to what degree, that is within
Bitch ain't shit. They just talking
the
shit back
purview
there.
of the programmer.
Oh
This
man.
selection and reselection is part of general creativity, of world building. The programmer, actualized in contradistinction, like so many film transparency. What I still do not grasp, however, is how one reality out of the many becomes actualized in contradistinction to the others. More likely, the Matrix world.
It's like you probably didn't want to grasp it at the time because it wasn't accepted. This type of shit was so looked down upon. That's why it's nowadays. I feel like 2026 and beyond is going to be the best years of the best years. We're going to be not only diverse among like me and Jay, blacks and Puerto Ricans, Chinese and whites. It's gonna be blacks, Puerto Ricans, grays, you know, a little sloth looking, talking, the alien, the xenomorph. You feel what I'm saying? Maybe predator. We're gonna use this predators to take out the child predators. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna live among them like that, and this the best years because we we just don't we are tired. We're fatigued of bullshit. We're bullshit fatigue.
The one with the true core of being is determined by the programmer. He or it articulates, prints out, so to speak, the matrix choice and fuses it with actual substance.
Like she laughing like, yo, this nigga crazy. And he dead ass for real. Like where FBI and goddamn CIA was on his ass.
He or it articulates, prints out, so to speak, the matrix choice and fuses it with actual substance. The core or essence of reality, that which receives or attains it, and to what degree, that is within the purview of the programmer. This selection and reselection is part of general creativity, a world building, which seems to be it or his task.
That ain't shit, bro. I'm telling you, in the 70s, bro, everybody was like, it had to be religion, nothing. Like, you had to be very brave to talk about shit like this in the 70s. I couldn't, if I was talking like how I'm talking right now, man, they probably goddamn, yo, yeah, we gonna do something to this nigga. Hang this nigga. The fuck he's talking about? Nigga, we finna hang your black ass. If I was talking like this, man, what? I'd probably get hanged by my own people.
As you can see, some people in the audience laughed at what he was saying. Remember, this was 1977. Back then, ideas about multiple realities and hidden programmers sounded completely insane to most people.
That answers your question, NJ.
Today, talk of simulations, parallel worlds, or alternate timelines isn't new anymore. Scientists and philosophers...
He said by your own people is crazy. Dead ass. Oh God, bro. If I went around talking like this, you can't talk like this in the 70s, NJ. Hell nah, bro. This is like witches and Selma. Bro, we came a long way, NJ. That's all I can say. And not just alien stuff. In general, we came a long way. And people be like, oh, I want to go back in time. Shit, not me. Shit.
Philosophers discuss it openly. But what still makes me pause is not the theory itself. It's the fact that the CIA and FBI really did open his mail, keep files on him, raid his home, and take his papers. That part still raises questions. If he was just a sci-fi writer making things up, why go to such lengths? Maybe he had said too much. And to make his concept easier to grasp, he gave an example. He compared reality itself to a game of chess. Imagine two players, one representing a dark, destructive force, and the other representing the guiding intelligence behind reality. On the surface, it can look like the dark player is winning moves, capturing pieces, and gaining control of the board. But in truth, the game is already structured so that the ultimate victory belongs to the higher player. According to this view,
SD, I gotta play that again. Yeah, did you hear that analogy? Like, let's run that back. I don't think you grasped that analogy, NJ.
Players.
I know you grasp it, but we have to hear it again. He just dropped some bars.
One representing a dark, destructive force, and the other representing the guiding intelligence behind reality. On the surface, it can look like the dark player is winning moves, capturing pieces, and gaining control of the board. But in truth, the game is already structured so the player. According to
it's already been mapped out.
This view, the guiding intelligence, what Dick sometimes called the programmer, has already chosen the variables in advance. Every apparent loss is only part of a larger sequence that leads to final victory. People sense this instinctively, which is why they pray to be included in that winning path, asking not to be left behind in the game. To be left out means staying under the influence of the destructive force, stuck in a darker version of reality. In truth,
What you
the
say?
game is already structured variables in advance. Ultimate victory variables in advance. Every apparent loss is only part of a larger sequence that leads to final victory. People sense this instinctively, which is why they pray to be included in that winning path.
What? Wait, people.
Part of a larger sequence that later. According to this view, the guiding intelligence, what Dick sometimes called the programmer, has already chosen the variables in advance. Every apparent loss is only part of a larger sequence that leads to final victory. People sense this instinctively, which is why they pray to be included in that winning path, asking not to be left behind in the game. To be left out means staying under the influence of the destructive force, stuck in a darker version of reality. But even as that force seems clever, even as it appears to win in the short term, it is already defeated. It is blind to the full pattern of the game. The higher player sees the whole board, sees every possible move, and because of that, the outcome is decided. The constructive force will always prevail. And
It's like you're climbing a ladder in this simulation, but you don't realize that somebody is chopping the ladder shorter at the top, so it's like you're climbing forever. You're not going to the top.
the only question is whether we are moved along with it or left trapped in the losing side of the match.
I submit to you that such alterations, the creation or selection of such so-called alternative presence, is continually taking place. The very fact that we can conceptually deal with this notion, that is, entertain it as an idea, is the first step in discerning such processes themselves.
He gave some very simple examples of how these shifts might show up in everyday life. You might reach for a light switch in your bathroom and suddenly realize it has always been in a different spot. Or you might go to adjust the air vent in your
Facts.
car, only to find there was never one there at all. These are reflexes left over from another version of the present, habits from a timeline that no longer exists, but which still linger in your memory at a subconscious level.
The Mandela effect. Oh my God. See, I know that wasn't just bullshit.
Sometimes we even dream of people or places we've never seen, yet they feel familiar and vivid, as if we really had known them.
Because we have.
Most of the time, we dismiss it and move on. But one of the strongest impressions many people experience is déjà vu. That strange, undeniable feeling that we are reliving the present moment exactly as it happened before.
Deja vu. Deja vu. Did I view? I don't know, but like, did I view? Deja vu. Did I view? Yes, you viewed.
We hear the same words, we say the same words, and we are sure we've been here before. Dick argued this wasn't just a trick of the mind.
You got chat banned, bro. Who chat banned you, bro? That was my bot. That was my stream element bot. What'd you do? Why chat ban you? I swear to God, I ain't do that. You know, you my brother. Too many cops. How? Nah, that's that AI stream element shit, probably. I ain't that big. I'm still when you sign up for Stream Element, I think, I probably got filter certain words or some shit. But nah, you've been going crazy, so I don't know. Maybe it was the platform. Cause I'm multi-streaming right now. I'm multi-streaming off Rumble. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, and Twitch. I mean, Twitter.
Mind. For him, déjà vu was evidence. He believed it was a clue that at some
Deja vu is evidence.
point in the past, a variable had been changed, as if reality was reprogrammed, and that a new timeline branched off from the old one. In other words, we are not just imagining it. We are literally reliving the same segment of time again, only in a slightly altered version of reality.
Exactly.
Breaching, a
Clip that.
tinkering, a change had been made, but not in our present, had been made in our past. Evidently, such an alteration would have a peculiar effect on those persons involved. They would, so to speak, be moved back one square or several squares on the board game which constitutes our reality. Conceivably, this could happen any number of times, affecting any number of people, as alternative variables were reprogrammed. We would have to live out each reprogramming along the subsequent linear time axis, but
Have to live out each reprogram. Like, bro, like, this is a lot to comprehend, but this is dope. I'm not gonna lie, clip that. Clip that.
to the programmer, whom we call God,
Run
a
that back
breaching,
again.
a tinkering,
Run that back again.
Reprogrammed, and that a new
Run that-
timeline branched off from the old one.
Deja
In other
vu.
words, we are
Deja vu.
not
Deja-
just imagining it. We are literally reliving the
Hey NJ, we gotta get that shit patent because somebody gonna steal our shit.
same segment of time again, only in a slightly altered version of reality.
a breaching, a tinkering, a change had been made, but not in our present, had been made in our past. Evidently, such an alteration would have a peculiar effect on those persons involved. They would, so to speak, be moved back one square or several squares on the board game which constitutes our reality. Conceivably, this could happen any number of times, affecting any number of people, as alternative variables were reprogrammed. We would have to live out each reprogramming along the subsequent linear time axis, but to the programmer, whom we call God, to him the results of the programming would be apparent at once. We are within time, and he is not. We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs.
Clip that.
He believed that every time reality shifts, a new lateral world is generated, and with each shift, the guiding intelligence, the programmer, achieves a kind of victory. Each new version of reality isn't perfect, but it's slightly better than the one before it. In his view, the universe is constantly being refined, stage by stage, through this process. The way he described it, the old universe doesn't disappear. It becomes raw material, a kind of stockpile that is used to build the new one.
So think about when your phone gets updated. I don't know, I have an iPhone. So every other week I have to update my phone, right? The earth updates itself. We just don't see it, but we go through an update. Clip that.
What looks like chaos or broken fragments in one timeline might actually be the foundation for the next.
Exactly. Like we started off from just a rock. And the programmers just said, okay, we're going to take this rock, bada bing, bada boom, add some binary codes, because space is like majority codes, allegedly. And, you know, bada bing, yeah. They keep updating us from scraps. One day we will be valuable. We won't be labeled scraps no more, NJ.
This means reality isn't moving toward collapse, but toward improvement. Even if we can't always see how, the process keeps pushing forward, generating alternate worlds, one after another, each infused with a little more order and structure than the last.
What we need at this point is to locate, to bring forth as evidence, someone who has managed somehow, it doesn't matter how, to retain memories of a different present, latent alternate world impressions, different in some significant way from this, the one which is at this stage actualized. According to my theoretical view, it would almost certainly be memories of a worse world than this. For it is not reasonable that God, the programmer and reprogrammer, would substitute a worse world in terms of freedom or beauty or love or order or healthiness by any standard which we know.
That's another thing that I have I have a little problem when it comes to time travel. Why would people come from the future to tell us, in this case, right? Why would people come from the future to tell us or prevent us from war or something that's going to happen in the future if the programmer one updates the world every time in the alternate universe? But when you have memories of the past, you'll remember, like you said, like the war. If you have deep memories, not just like memories from a kid, but like deep memories from 1,000 years ago, you might remember wars, fires, you know what I'm saying? Destruction, chaos. That's the past. So the future and what Mr. Dick is saying is a better version. So why would people from the future want to come back to the past to prevent us from what? A better living?
What Philip K. Dick was describing is true, that reality can shift sideways, that alternate versions
Constantly getting iOS update. Exactly, AJ, constantly.
of the world appear again and again. Then maybe we've already seen signs of it without realizing. One of the clearest examples is what we now call the Mandela effect.
The Mandela.
Millions of people around
Okay. I don't remember the tale. I don't remember the tale on George.
the world share the same memory
I always remember Skechers with a T.
of something that doesn't match.
Wait, hold on. Cheez-Its?
One of the clearest examples is what we now call the Mandela effect. Millions of people around the world share the same memory of something that doesn't.
Wait. I never remember Cheez-Its like that. I always remember Cheez-Its like this. Who the hell remember Cheez-Its like this? It's always been like this. Y'all remember the Z at the end of Cheez-Its? I never remember that shit.
Match today's official version of events. The name itself comes from people remembering that Nelson Mandela died in prison during the 1980s.
He said, what, no T? You remember it? Nah, you feel I remember that.
Remember news reports, public reactions, even school lessons about his death.
Now that's creepy. Like, bro, they had school lessons and that shit was in a news article and everything. I don't know. So what kind of like, and how they explain that shit? They say he never died and he ended up becoming president. Like,
yet in this timeline, Mandela was released and later became president of South Africa.
See, NJ, that's the iOS update right here. You feel me? Because ain't no way you put this man was dead in the article and doing college school lessons on his death, and you wake up the next day and he's president of South Africa. That's the iOS update right here. That's the iOS update.
Living until 2013. For those who have the older memory, it feels as though history was rewritten. And it doesn't stop there. People remember the Berenstain Bears.
No, I remember Berenstain Bears. Yeah, I remember that.
Spelled as Berenstein with an E. They remember the Monopoly Man having a Monley when...
I remember having a Monley. He did have a Monley.
In fact, he never did.
Yes, the fuck he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
They recall the movie line, Luke, I am your father, when the actual line is,
No, I am your father.
No, he said, Luke, I am your father. Nah, I ain't gonna lie. That was debatable. The Luke, I'm your father came from, and that shit came from this. Fuck all that. You see, that's the iOS update, NJ. That's the iOS update you were just talking about. He said no Luke. He said no Luke. He said no Luke, I'm your father, right? He said no. What he said?
When the actual line is,
No, I am your father.
He said no Luke. Yeah, right. Bro, now they fucking with us, right?
These aren't just
That's the iOS update. This is another iOS update.
a handful of mistakes. They're shared, consistent memories across millions of people.
Bro, my uncle, when I was younger, my uncle had all the DVDs Star Wars on bootleg. And this is the early 2000s. I remember watching them in chronological order. I was, it's probably free on YouTube right now if I could look for them. But I remember watching the old ones all the way to the ones up until 2000 with the Return of the Sith. I didn't like the Return of the Sith too much because I wasn't too much a big fan of Anakin and the whole Luke shit. I don't like, but like it was cool. And I had like dumb Star Wars games and shit for Xbox. Like one of my first games for Xbox was the Star Wars Clone Wars that came with the Xbox when the first Xbox first came out. Hell yeah. That's dope. That's AI, bro. He said that's AI facts.
People, as if we really
Oh, the new Star Wars? That's the AI shit, yeah. I feel like the older Star Wars, like from the 70s or the 80s, that shit was more detailed and everything. I don't really get the whole Baby Yoda shit. That's where I lost Star Wars. Like, okay, that's the new cats. It's not for me.
had lived in a slightly different version of reality. Philip K. Dick's theory offers
I'm about to play a couple more vids, then yeah, let this burn out.
one possible explanation. If
Not really.
variables can be changed, if a programmer can shift us laterally from one track to another, then déjà vu, false memories,
Deja vu. Deja vu.
or the Mandela effect might not be errors at all. They could be traces of previous.
How was it spelled? Was it spelled like this? That. There you go. Did it have a dash in between the kit and the cat?
Presence, fragments of timelines we once occupied but no longer do. This is where things get even stranger, because it's not just personal memories. Pop culture itself sometimes seems to reveal knowledge of events long before they happen. One of the most famous examples is The Simpsons. For more than 3 decades, the animated show has been making jokes that later turn out to mirror real-world events with
I feel like they staged that.
uncanny accuracy. Years before smartwatches were invented, The Simpsons showed characters using wrist devices to make
It didn't NJC. Oh shit. NJ just got an iOS update. He said no. Damn NJ. You in the alternate universe already. Damn it.
phone calls. They joked about a defective autocorrect feature on a handheld device long before smartphones made that frustration a daily reality. They even portrayed Disney eventually buying 20th Century Fox, a merger that seemed absurd at the time but became reality in 2019. In another
Okay. The creator of Simpsons are time travelers or they are programmers of the Matrix.
episode, they showed a skyscraper with a design almost identical to London's Shard, drawn over a decade before construction even began. They sketched a
That boy said he got upgraded and updated. God damn, NJ, what they do? They gave that new 2020 motherfucker.
Nobel Prize prediction board that matched the actual Nobel winner announced years later. And in one storyline, they featured a 3-eyed fish living near a power plant, which was followed years later by news photos of a 3-eyed fish discovered in Argentina living by water contaminated from a nuclear facility.
Yeah, we need to do more investigation on The Simpsons. More than just reactions. Like, that shouldn't be a federal investigation for Simpsons. Because how they know so much?
At some point, the list becomes too long to ignore. These aren't just vague jokes that can be stretched to fit events. They're oddly specific details, many of them tied to technology, science, or cultural shifts that hadn't happened yet. Some people laugh it off as coincidence. Others wonder if the writers had hidden knowledge. And some even go further, suggesting, half joking but half serious, that the show's creator might have glimpsed the future, or somehow tapped into the same overlapping layers of reality Philip K. Dick described back in 1977.
1977. Damn, Philip. The boy Philip, man. The boy Philip. What this is. I'm gonna watch one more. So, what'd you say, NJ? They must have been so high they saw the future. Literally. Shit. I I need I should be able to see goddamn 1,000 years ahead then, goddamn. I should be on the same time they are. Shit. What this is right here.
Film and television. In Washington, what does the U.S. government know about
I might watch X-Files tonight.
UFOs or life on other planets? For generations, the question has been asked and answered in art, books, film, and television. And Washington is prying into the issue with increasing focus.
Welcome to the first annual Disclosure Forum.
I'm here at an event called the Disclosure Forum. We're hearing from academics, business leaders, religious leaders, and politicians who are calling for greater government transparency or disclosure.
Hell yeah.
At the heart of this forum were the hundreds of reports that have been in government storage, unavailable to the public for decades. Reports of civilian and military accounts of flying, hovering, blinking objects that appeared in the daytime or, more often, nighttime skies. In May 2026, President Trump began releasing these files, ordering that they be posted directly on a Department of Defense website.
I've seen all of them, even the fifth one they just dropped.
We're releasing a lot of information having to do with extraterrestrial things, and people are totally fascinated by it.
After decades of secrecy, stigma, and sometimes silliness, the government has begun taking things seriously. What used to be called UFOs and now go by UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena, are being given the full investigatory treatment. Congressional hearings were held in 2022 and 2023.
UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine.
In 2022, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office was established to detect, identify, and attribute objects of interest, especially on or
1 a.m.
around military bases and installations. In December 2023, then President Joe Biden signed into law the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Disclosure Act as part of the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act. The UAP portion of the law requires collection, preservation, review, and public disclosure of all evidence of relevant sightings and encounters. And just this past June, the White House established the UAP Science Advisory Council to study the national security risks posed.
Nah, man, shoot. I'm not gonna lie. I woke up around 11. Not too much I wake up in the morning, but to go take a piss, and I go back to sleep. Then I wake up around 11, 12, then I'll go to work type shit.
By UAPs.
The real test is that we will come up with a clearer understanding of UAP.
Dude, I was up until 5 a.m. yesterday. I was editing a long form video, then I was making clips. Then I was just up because I drank some coffee around like 9 p.m. Worst thing you can do. Especially if you don't drink caffeine and shit often.
So everyone would know what we are talking about.
Last year, the nonprofit Disclosure Foundation was launched with the aim of encouraging the release of UAP reports and formulating government policy related to UAPs. On June 25, 2026, the foundation convened the Capitol Hill Forum.
I want to hear this story. Excuse me. I'm going to do this one. So I wake up at 12. Yeah, that's about the same time I wake up. Like, am I tired? Like, I'm tired, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, you know, I'm not that far from my bed type shit, then I'll say I'll probably watch one more video. This probably be the last video I watch right here. This basically talks about dude, a MUFON researcher, basically describing his contact. That's about, yeah, that's a good finale video right here.
And I was in my room,
That's how you gonna be, NJ.
my bedroom, in my home in Reseda, California. Anyway, it was my birthday, May 6th. And I was in my room, my bedroom, in my home in Reseda, California.
Oh, sure. The video not even on the damn thing. That's how you know I'm a little tired. You're gonna fall asleep in your sleep. I don't care, but I think a couple nights ago, last time I was on stream, I was on stream like this, like. And I was just goddamn like crazy with it, boy. That shit crazy.
I had just been interviewing Dolly. Anyway, it was my birthday, May 6th. And I was in my room, my bedroom, in my home in Reseda, California. I had just been interviewing Dolly Saffron. I'd been talking to her hours per day, vetting her story. And suddenly I was dreaming. And suddenly I was pulled out of the dream and I was awake. I'm going to underline this. You know when you're awake, you just know it. And so I was being pulled through the wall of my bedroom. I actually saw the wall kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but almost like it opened up, but not really. It kind of just swirled and I pulled through it and I'm flying through space. I mean, I'm hurtling through space. And it was this weird electric feeling. And I thought, you know what? Through it, pulled through the wall. And suddenly I was pulled out of the dream and I was awake. I'm going to underline this. You know when you're awake, you just know it. And so I was being pulled through the wall of my bedroom. I actually saw the wall kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but almost like it opened up, but not really. It kind of just swirled and I pulled through it and I'm flying through space. I mean, I'm hurtling through space. And it was this weird electric feeling. And I thought, you know what? I know this feeling. I remember feeling this before. Because by that point, I'd been having dreams of having been on board from prior incidents, I think. But this was fully conscious. And I was hurtling through space, just darkness and stars. And the next thing I know, I'm in this very large round room, let's say 40 or 50 feet across, laying on a very low table. And there's this very tall, very slender woman bent over looking down at me. And she's not entirely human. I mean, she looks human enough, but she has almost no nose, a slit for a mouth, very tightly curled white blonde hair, huge wraparound eyes, which are not black, but they're kind of bluish.
Great white.
And
tall whites, the tall whites.
Snow white jumpsuit without a single wrinkle.
So I'm either thinking tall whites, Aldebarans, or a prominent woman from the Ashtar.
No buttons, no zippers. And she's rail thin, but beautiful. And I'm like, wow, look at you. She looked very unusual. And I was entranced by her appearance. I'm like, wow. And I tried to get up. And she's like, no. She put her hand on my chest. We need to check you out. We need to make sure you're okay. And I'm like, listen, I'm fine. I want to get up. And they're like, no. There was other short little guys next.
No. You sit down right there, little human.
To me. Didn't look at them because I was just staring into her eyes, but I could tell they were short. And finally she said, okay, you can get up. And I literally leapt off that table. And I quickly looked around me and I saw 2 rows of people standing in the center of the craft, humans. I saw gray ETs over by the far end of the wall, rounded walls, gray floor. Those were short gray ETs, and my heart did leap up in my throat a little bit when I saw them because they looked different. I'm like, oh my God. And then I turned my head and there was this very tall gray alien, about 7 feet tall, maybe a little more. And I knew who this was because this is Dolly Saffron's contact, liaison. This is her craft that she's described to me many times.
Holy shit. Mm. He said he knew what craft it was, Dolly Saturn. Now we gotta look up Dolly Saturn.
Dolly Saffron's contact, liaison. This is her craft that she's described to me many times. And this ET is who she calls Mama. And I rushed up to her because she radiated wisdom and beauty. I don't know how to describe this, just elegance and compassion. And just, she's so amazing. She was wearing this long white kind of smock and very slender, very long arms, huge head, big, big eyes, tiny little mouth. And she tilts her head forward and to the side and looks at me and says, "So, is this what you thought it would be like?" And I said, "No, it's much better." This was telepathic in English. And it was amazing. Because I felt like I was in a place of absolute advancement, if you know what I mean. I mean, this was like a place where you don't have to watch your back. No one's going to come up behind you and lie to you or try to stab you or anything like that. It was like being in a place of absolute equality. I don't know how to describe it. It was just a great place to be. And I said, "Can I look around?" And she said, "Go ahead." And I went to the other side of the room where there was nobody else because they were all kind of clustered against one side. And I looked out the window, which was tilted at a 45-degree angle, kind of facing down. And I could see the earth. I'm like, "Oh my God, look at that." It wasn't far away like a globe. It was just round like that. So maybe, I don't know how high up, 500 miles, something like that. At any rate, I'm like, that is amazing. Slightly less gravity than normal, by the way, because you could walk real smoothly. And I went to the other side where
So
there were these people in a row, actually in the middle of the craft. And I'm looking at them, and they were kind of catatonic, hypnotized, entranced. And I wanted to talk to them because I was awake, and I'm okay. So I walked up to this blonde girl, people of all ethnicities, ancestries, and I'm like, "Hey, my name's Preston. What's your name?" And she would not respond, could not respond. So I looked around, and there was I'm guessing, Korean girl standing by the window.
So it could not respond. Why she couldn't respond? Because they're probably not looking at them like a human. They look at them like a scientific experiment.
And she's smiling, and she's kind of gripping this little banister that was next to the window. So I walked up to her. I was going to ask her name because I want verification. I want to get her name. And as soon as I walked up to her, this craft, I looked outside the window and there was the earth. It dropped down to the ground in 1 second flat. And she screamed like, "Woo!" Not in a bad way. She was like, it was shocking. I didn't feel any acceleration or deceleration. We came about 5 or 10 feet above the ground. The craft rocked slightly, which I could feel. And then it shot right back up. So that was thrilling, to say the least. And I turned around, and the tall gray Mama was motioning me to come to her. And this is what I remember. There might be more to this, honestly, but I walk up to her, and she hands me this glass tumbler, kind of like this, but much shorter. Just thick, I'm guessing it was glass because it was clear. And there was a green liquid inside. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I've read about this. I wrote an article, a whole chapter in one of my books about people who were given these drinks. And here it is. So she's like, "Drink it." I'm like, "Okay." And I sniffed it, and it didn't really have much of a smell at all. So I took a sip. It was very syrupy, and I could taste it. It was very subtle. The way I describe it is kind of kiwi juice, or kind of more kiwi than lime, but you could barely taste it.
That's like when Billy Woodward drank the grape juice.
And I took one sip and held it up, and she took it back from me. I'm like, "Well, hey, wait a second. You just gave that to me. Can't I have another sip?" And she expressed astonishment, not so much with her expression, but like, "You're kidding." I'm like, "No, I'd like another sip if that's all right." She's like, "Well, go ahead." She looked at me like I was crazy. And I took another sip and blacked out. And next thing I know, I'm waking up in bed, but with a full memory of it. I later asked Dolly Saffron about that because I'd read about this liquid and there's all kinds of theories as to what it is to make you forget, or is it medicinal or nutrition or what have you. And she explained that, no, this is something that is medicinal because you are exposed to a certain amount of gamma radiation when you're on these craft because you're in maybe not deep space, but somewhat outside of the Earth's magnetic field. And this helps with dealing with that. So yeah, that was my onboard.
Probably decrease the amount of exposure he could get to cancer in the future. Shout out to the alien.
Encounter. And it was awesome. I had no fear whatsoever.
Oh shit, NJ, your girl's still here. I'm about to log off. As always, y'all. I'm gonna come back on next one. I get a little tired, but this was a good stream. I fucks with it. This was a good stream. I'm gonna catch you on next one. My boy NJ. Ariana, good luck.